Greetings, Earthlings.
Yes. Okay.
One of my favorites
A
from
good
Vivid.
start. Can you cut to my camera, please? Spin that wheel. What is up, guys? Let me tell you something. I love that intro video.
Yeah, same.
I know I haven't said this in a while. I said it when you first started. You killed it on that intro video.
Thank you.
Because this guy actually made that. It
Thank
gets me
you.
so pumped.
Wow.
Like,
so
I
pumped
am-
that you're going to give me your Evolutions collection.
Wow. Well, you know what? You can hold out hope for that one.
Oh.
We will see. But it does make me pumped for collecting. It really does. It's like, oh my gosh, let me open up a pack. You know, I love it, and I love that one scene where you pull the Chunkachu,
The chunk.
and I threw a chair, and
That's why they fall all the time now.
I know we broke
That's why
up the
we
chairs
consider
because of
them.
that. But anyway, love the intro video. You did an amazing job. But guys,
Thank you.
welcome to the Collectors Showcase, where we talk about the collecting world, specifically the trading card market, and we help you guys understand what you should buy, sell, and stay away from. And every single Monday, we're right here on YouTube and focusing on a very specific topic. But definitely check out some of our other shows. We've been doing some amazing stuff across all different genres, whether it be Pokemon and basketball, baseball, all the good stuff. And it's been a lot of fun. So we've gotten some really great feedback, helping a lot of people learn some stuff. And through the process, we're learning as well. Like, I've learned a ton, which is awesome.
Definitely.
And but today, I think is probably one of the most important shows we've ever done for the Collectors Showcase. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, we always say, hey, we help you guys understand what you should buy, sell, and stay away from. But right now, we're in a very interesting part of the market. And I felt like this was a really good opportunity for us to really understand what that means, to buy, to sell. And instead of stay away from, we're actually going to change it to hold. So today's topic is when to buy, when to sell, and when to hold. And there's really an art and a science to this. And I think a lot of people get hurt financially because they don't understand when to buy things, when to sell things, and when you should be holding. So it is the nature of this show, the Collector's Showcase. So I'm like, you know what? We need to focus on this because we're seeing this change in the market very, very quickly. Now is the time we need to educate people on when to do those things. So we're going to be doing just that. And to tell you guys our philosophy on when to buy, sell, and hold, because there's a time for all three. And understanding that time, it's all about timing, then you can really do well. So it doesn't matter what type of market you're in. There's always an opportunity to do well in the collecting and investing market. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I think it's going to be amazing. So definitely stay tuned because by the end of this episode, you're going to be armed with some incredible stuff. And you're going to be ready to take on the world.
Whoa, the world of collecting.
The world of
Which
collecting.
my world revolves around. But.
Yeah, I mean, and just to sort of kick it off, you know, is there a time to buy, sell, and hold things like this? You know, things like that. But mainly, things like, yeah, actually, as weird as this is Michael Jackson trading cards. There is a time to buy, sell, and burn or stay away from and hold. But even things like even this too, I mean, we'll change up the camera angles here, but even things like this, I mean, is there an actual time to collect Beanie Baby cards? Isn't that crazy? How about, I mean, we always talk about basketball, baseball, football, Pokemon. What about racing card stuff? So, yes, there is a time to buy, sell. Even these things here, there's still a market for them. And where the market might not be as huge, there's still a market for them. And understanding all of this stuff will help everyone be a better collector and a better investor. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So the first topic, Gregory, when to buy. When do you like to buy, Craig?
When do I like to buy? Whenever something comes to my head and I say, oh, I want that.
That sounds like just about everyone. Impulse buying, which is why retail stores put a bunch of the stuff like at the cashier. You know, like when you're waiting online and you're like, oh, I finished shopping. No, you didn't. The retail store has something else in mind because they strategically place something else so that, oh, you see it, you're going to just add it.
Yep.
You know,
And I mainly do that though online, like Instagram and stuff. I follow a lot of collectible pages.
Is that right?
Hot toys stuff. So every time, and Hot Toys, if anyone collects Hot Toys, they're not inexpensive. They are.
No, they're really
they are
expensive. Yeah.
And I just see it in my timeline all the time. Sometimes I have on occasion.
Yeah.
Saw it and bought something right there and then.
Are you serious? Like right from Instagram?
Yep. Like when I saw the Baby Yoda dropped, I immediately went online. The whole site crashed, and I waited and waited and waited until I could buy the Baby Yoda figure.
And how'd that go?
And I bought it right then, and I have it. It's at home.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Sealed.
So all right.
Haven't
So you
opened it
don't. All right. So why did you buy that though? Like I'm just curious. Like so here's a moment you saw it.
Yeah.
Like I remember when you bought that, by the way. So I want you to tell everyone else though. Like why did you buy it really in that moment?
Why did I buy it in that moment? Because I love Baby Yoda. The Mandalorian did a very good job. Disney is very good at getting you to really care and buy into characters that they then immediately ram merchandising down your throat. And I am the sucker that always goes for that.
Well, I mean, you're saying you're a sucker, but why I'm sort of singling you out and singling out this particular real life story here is that you have to understand why you buy in order to understand when to buy. Because when you're buying because you just love it, sometimes the getting it at the lowest possible price is not the primary objective because you're not looking to flip it quickly, right? Like you got it, you loved the show because they did such a good job. You became a big fan of Baby Yoda, so you're like, I want it, not necessarily as an investor because you just want it for your own collection.
I figured though as well that after a couple days, it was going to be so impossible to find that it was going to be so expensive. Like I have no plans of reselling, but I just knew also if I didn't buy it in that minute, like I did it for a couple other figures as well. I'm like, these are like exclusive figures. I know they're going to sell out. If I don't buy them right then and there, I'm never going to be able to find them. It's going to be on eBay like a year from now, like double the price.
Right. And so this is the first point I want to make when talking about when to buy is understanding why you're buying. That's really, really important because if you're buying for the reason that you want it for your collection, you're not going to be selling it, then that has to factor in how you buy. And in your case is you didn't want to go through the whole period where it wasn't going to be available for a while. It was more important for you to get it, right? So you bought it. And you still have it, you love it, you're going to cherish it, you're going to keep it in your collection for a long time.
I'm opening them when I can get them in a dust-free
It's like still
casing.
Sealed, right?
Yeah, still in the box. I haven't even taken it out of the box.
Right. So that's the first point I really want to highlight is understanding when to buy. First, you have to understand why are you buying. And we just talked about if you're just buying it because you like it and you want it, that's one category of this. Now, the other category of knowing when to buy and why you're buying, maybe you're buying because you're looking to make a profit on this. Now, if you're looking to make a profit on this, now you're investing as a collector, well, now it's a little bit different. Now it's about buying at the lowest price point that you can possibly find and afford so that ultimately you can flip it at some point in time. Now, I say some point in time because this is the next point I want to highlight is when you're selling it actually should matter. Because if you're looking for the quick flip, then your margins, you have to understand, are going to probably be smaller, and you're accepting
or you're gonna
this.
lose money.
Or
People get like trigger happy.
Right.
They're like, oh, something is hot. They buy up a ton of stuff without really looking into it.
Yes.
They don't really get it at a good deal. They get it for like the basic price of it.
Right, and they got
try
stuck
to flip
now.
it, and they don't really make money on it at
Right.
all.
That's
So
a really good point.
Because they're trying to jump on like, oh, it's hot. Let me get it.
Exactly.
You gotta be smart about
Now we have gone through that and are at a place right now that in the sort of Pokemon and trading card world where we experience an unprecedented rise in value of trading cards, including Pokemon, where you were able to go to a retail store, buy it for retail, and on the same day get 4x your money. And because that was going on, is it got to the point where in everyone's mind is whatever is ever available at the store, I'm always going to buy it. Right. And the problem is they didn't change that mindset when the market shifted. So now there's a lot of people stuck with lots of inventory and they're not able to move it for those big Forex prices. So understanding now your sort of approach to flipping. Are you long-term? Are you short-term flip? And if you're a short-term flip, you have to be wise then about it. Understand that your margins are probably going to be small, and it's just about volume. You're just going to burn and turn as much as you possibly can, but there's the risk that if you take on too much inventory, the market's going to change not in your favor, and you're going to get stuck with the product, which now leads me to the second category, if you're a long-term guy. Now, for me, I'm a long-term collector investor where I see the long-term sort of benefits of this. So I like buying sealed product. I'll keep it sealed for a long time. I was that kid in like the 80s where I would get a McDonald's Happy Meal, get the toy and leave it in the wrapping. I still have it at home because I'm always a long-term guy. I'm a macro guy. I actually do have some of the beanie. It's like literally still wrapped, you know? And so that's my approach is I see the long-term value. Now, here's also something you have to consider when buying is maybe that, let's say something right now is $10 and you're like, all right, I'm going to be a long-term thinker. So I'm going to see if I'm going to try to get it for $9. Well, if that goes up to $100, you really wasted a lot of time, effort, and money trying to get that $10 item in that moment for just $9. Because you were trying to save $1 when in the long term you were making 90. So that $1, you have to understand if you have done your due diligence and you're confident that you're going to have 1,000% return on something or 100% return, whatever that is, then those minuscule numbers really shouldn't matter. And another great example, and I know we're not a show about the cryptocurrency, but it's cryptocurrency. If you believe, for example, Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million, and by the way, I'm not saying it is. I'm not even a believer that it'll go to $1 million. I like crypto, but I don't know that it will, right? So, but let's say you're of the thought that Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million. Well, then what does it matter if you get Bitcoin at 30,000 or 40,000? Now I know you're saying, oh, well, it's $10,000 difference. Yes. But when you compare it to the growth to $1 million, it's actually such a minuscule number that you were risking in that moment of not getting it at that $10,000 cheaper price. So what you have to realize, if you are really focusing on those tiny numbers, then in fact, you're not a long-term investor in that case. You're a short-term investor looking for a quick flip. And that's why your mindset and your approach and understanding why you're buying will help you understand when to buy.
Right.
If
and
that makes sense.
Invest within your means. Don't
100%.
Don't put 30,000 into Bitcoin for what it could do 10 years from now.
If you only have $30,000.
That's what you have and that you can't support your family.
No. See, that's foolish. And I'm actually glad you brought that
up. That you want to if you're going to make a big risk in something like that.
That's not what you do it in.
You don't do that.
No, that's not what you do it in. And that's called FOMO. So what happens is the market already matures and excites, right? And it's going crazy. And you got these people on the outside saying, well, I want to make some money too. So what they do is to try to play catch up or to get a little greedy. And it's like the lottery syndrome. Well, I'm gonna take everything I have, and I'm gonna risk it all. And it's like going to the casinos and risking it all on red. It's like, man, the casino's gonna win out more often than not. That's what their business. And so you got to be very careful with that. I agree. Never put all your eggs in one basket. You've got to diversify, and you invest. And I've said this to you, right? And I've said this to everyone else that I talk to about investing. You invest initially what you can withstand losing. Not because you are going to go into it thinking I'm going to lose. Right. I say that because just in case.
Yeah, cautious.
Right. There's a scenario where you do actually lose your investment. You want to make sure the lifestyle and what you have to support is okay. You don't want to, risk, the food on the table in order to make an investment in trading cards. That's silly.
Things are very unpredictable, especially now.
Sure.
You got things, for example, you can have an Elon Musk go on Saturday Night Live and talk crap about crypto.
Did that happen?
And then it can crash. You can have Target saying we're not going to sell Pokemon cards in stores, and now people are scrambling, and now what's going to happen? Everything is unpredictable, so you're right. You have to invest what you're willing to lose because there could be great gains, but it's also so unpredictable. You really don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's called the unknown variable, and the unknown variables are not just things that you don't know, but these are variables that you can't control.
Right.
You can't control Elon Musk. Like, I think Elon Musk's mother can't even control Elon Musk. You can't control, because you don't own Target, what Target does, right? So these are all things that at the flick of a switch, that it really does make a big impact. And that's what we're seeing now, which there's some people scurrying trying to figure things out. However, if you were a smart investor, a smart collector, you would have already been prepared for this. So that's why. So number one is knowing when to buy. First is knowing why you are buying. Right. And so the last part of when to buy is that I want to talk about, and this is true really for everything that you invest in, whether it be trading cards, memorabilia, real estate, stocks, crypto, fill in the blanks, right? They always say buy low, sell high, right? But the secret is, well, what's low and what's high?
Right.
And that's you would think it's a hard thing to predict, but there are indicators that if you're less impulsive, avoid FOMO buying, you can be more aware of these indicators and know when the lows are and when the highs are. They're like right in front of us. And in the case of trading cards, well, that's my, see, someone's asking me about investing right now. In the case of trading cards, though, you know, the writing is going to be on the wall. You're going to see things like we're seeing with Pokemon. At the time that we're going to be releasing this, it was the Pokemon craze, and because of a lot of people trying to get access to product at retail stores, certain retail stores have said, we can't handle it, and now they're not stocking this stuff anymore. And it's causing, not the only reason, but it's causing a little bit of a dip in the Pokemon market, right? So we've got to look at that and understand that is going to actually impact the market. You have to look at supply and demand. Is the supply overwhelming the demand, or is the demand overwhelming the supply? That's going to be an indicator of the peaks and the lows, right? So in the case of also Pokemon, look at, is Pokemon creating new product? Are they making lots of movies? Are they making lots of merchandise? Are they buying out companies? Are they creating more video games? Or are they pulling back from that right now? These are all indicators that will tell us how the market is going to be responding, low or high, and then you need to act accordingly. You can't just be like, because you want it and because you think you deserve it, that it's going to happen, meaning that your prices are going to go up. It doesn't work that way. And so we need to pay attention to the market and then respond accordingly and be conservative in those moments. So you want to buy low, sell high, pay attention to market demand, and that will really, really help you to understand when that right moment is to buy. But yes, you do want to buy low. So if Pokemon, let's say right now Pokemon is like, I would say plateau, but it's sort of like at the edge where it could come down a little bit on as far as the lower end stuff, I would wait. And it could present a really great opportunity to buy as an investor long term for some of these products that over the past year or so has been untouchable. A great example is some of the Charizards for some of the collections over the past year have unprecedented prices. And I see that in the future happening again and probably even exceeding those numbers. So as an investor, I'm looking for those prices to come down, and I want them to come down around 40 to 50%. They could come down more, right? But as an investor, once they get to about 40, 50% of its peak, I'm going to invest and I'm going to buy more long-term because I know it's going to come right back up.
Right.
So that's a dip, whereas an investor long-term, it creates an opportunity for you to buy. So those are some buy indicators, some buy examples of when. But again, knowing when to buy, first you have to understand why you're buying. Okay, when to sell. When's the last thing that you sold?
What's the last thing that I sold?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Might have been a puppet on eBay.
All right,
or a movie. I sell Blu-rays sometimes on eBay.
I know you've had a pretty big collection of Blu-rays, right?
Yeah, I sold a lot of them.
Okay,
yeah.
So why? And it's the same thing, right? It's the why and when. And why did you sell and when did you sell your Blu-ray discs?
I sold my Blu-ray discs around. I had a lot. I still have a bunch because I still like physical media. I like the collectible stuff now, though. Now I'm into like the steel books and stuff. Regular Blu-rays that I had.
Yeah.
I had a huge collection. I'm a big Disney fan, as you know.
Yeah.
I had essentially the entire collection, just standard Blu-rays.
Yeah.
And I sold them upon the announcement, honestly, of Disney Plus.
Smart.
Because I was like, if I want these movies certain ones that I really love, I'll get the collector's cases because that I can display. But I don't actually need just the regular Blu-ray discs of these anymore because I'm going to have it all in a year. So I sold all of them with that announcement, and I figured once it's all on Disney Plus, these are not really, people are not going to really be buying these unless it's a collectible.
Right.
So I got rid of it before I lost money.
Perfect. Like, you did the exact right thing. You paid attention to the market. You saw where it was going. You had a collection of something that was valuable still.
Right.
And you took advantage of the opportunity to unload it before that big reveal happened with Disney Plus. And it was smart because if you would have held it, the value of those things just plummeted because there's no reason to have a Blu-ray. I don't even think they sell Blu-ray players anymore in like electronic stores.
I don't know. I still love my physical media, but
listen,
it is a dying art.
Well, listen, there's still people that like 8-tracks and
although
cassettes.
Vinyl came back, so you never know.
And vinyl, but you know what? It's more nostalgia than it is convenience at this point, right? So it'll be around always as a nostalgic thing, but that's about it.
The collectible stuff will always be around. Like they have very creative like collective cases for these things. That stuff will be around.
Yeah, I agree. So when to sell, you touched on one time when you sell, where you're paying attention to news and information as it relates to the companies that make the products that you are collecting. And if there are buyouts, if the company's buying other companies, if the company is making a big technology change, in the case of Disney Plus, right? You have to pay attention to those things because they could impact the value of what it is that you collect. And you have to do your research and not be so romantic about what it is that you have and have pride about it and be like, no, it's not. I love this. It's going to be worth a lot of money regardless. Right. Well, that's foolish. You have to be smart about it and be willing to part with it in those situations. You did a fantastic job there.
Oh, thank you.
A really good job. And that's a great lesson that a lot of people can learn from of when to sell. Another time to sell, honestly, and this is okay, is when sometimes people need money. So it's not going to matter when or where the market is, low or high. Sometimes people just sell because they need the money, and that's okay. Right. And in that case, it's not about necessarily timing the market perfectly, but just finding the right place where then you can unload those items, and that's okay. So I don't want to spend too much time there, but one thing as a collector that we can't, like Fort Knox, hold on to these collectibles and force us into poverty. It's okay to unload them. But another time to sell is seasonally. This is really important. So I've got out a bunch of different stuff here, right? Let's see if I can do this correctly. And so when I say seasonally, so I've got basketball, right? We've got Pokemon here. I've got over here, I've got some baseball sealed packs. I got football sealed packs. So when to sell these? Well, one of the factors that's going to play into when to sell something is the peak of that particular market. With sports, there's a season for it, right? It's not 24/7. It's not 365, right? So basketball has a certain season, baseball a certain season, football has a certain season. So during those seasons where the media is covering it a lot is where there's going to be a peak for that particular market, which presents a really great opportunity to move some of that product because it's top of mind. Right. So this is another good reason. So you don't necessarily want to try to move football when there's only baseball out.
Right.
Because you're trying to move then a product when it's not in its peak season.
For it,
Right, and no one's looking for it. There's a reason that when you go, I mean, this is true with, I can give so many examples with this, but like traveling, right? There's a reason why if I try to book a flight December 25th, it's going to be a lot more expensive than trying to book it on, let's say, like a random date like August 3rd or whatever the case may be. Because number one, there's a lot of attention, top of mind. There's a lot of people traveling, supply and demand, right? So that's why the flights increase their prices. They understand this. So you need to understand this as well, is if you can afford to be patient, wait to move the product seasonally when that particular sport or event is happening. Another good example, let's say if it's not a sport, but let's say it's Pokemon, or let's say it's Marvel, okay? Is, we've talked about this before when we've done shows on comic books, is a great example is, let's say, Vision, right? WandaVision came out, right? and that show got a lot of attention. It was one of the first, if not the first, new Marvel TV show or streaming show.
Awards too.
Right. The show did great. That would have been a fantastic time. Lots of top of mind. Then everyone was covering it. Everyone was talking about it to move Vision-based product. Right. The first appearance of Vision in a comic book. That's when there's going to be the peak value of those things. So it's all about, you can time the market that way as well by understanding what else is going on in the market that could support this. Is Pokemon putting out a movie? Is Pokemon teaming up with another company to do a joint venture marketing like with McDonald's? Right. Guess what happened when Pokemon dropped the new McDonald's, the 25th anniversary stuff? That was the peak of Pokemon right there. That was the time to move product. So paying attention to those things will help know when to sell because they contribute to the peak times. And they also will tell you when not to sell as well. You know? Anything else that you would like to add about selling? When to sell?
I was going to say maybe with an unpredictable like controversy, for example.
Oh, gosh, yes.
If controversy hits.
I forgot about this. So
and now you have a very controversial item.
Yeah. So when to sell? I mean, I don't want to leave this on too long because I don't want this video to get flagged, right? But when to sell? And we got to talk about this. This is just a great example.
This is one of those unpredictable.
Right, exactly.
Although people could say, "Oh, we knew that about."
Yeah, some people were like, "Oh, I absolutely knew." Well, listen. So these are original Michael Jackson trading cards put out by Topps, and why did Michael Jackson put out Topps trading cards in 1984? Well, because he was like the king of the world.
Yeah, he was
called the king of pop. He was
probably the biggest person in the world.
He was probably more famous than the Pope at one point in time.
Definitely.
And so, literally, all they needed to do is slap Michael Jackson's face or name on something, and they can sell it.
Right.
And that's why there's a lot of Michael Jackson memorabilia out there, including Topps. So there was a while where these became really valuable. Now, this is a sealed product, sealed wax packs, the whole entire box, right? And you just nailed it, right? Controversy comes out, terrible things. And what does it do? He disappears. Right. The brand of Michael Jackson literally disappears.
You still get your diehard fans. So there is a small. I wouldn't even say it's that small of a market actually, because there's big divisions on this whole side.
There is, I don't want to knock it. And both Craig and I, we're not taking any type of hard stance either way, right? That's not the point of this. The point of this, here are the facts that we know, that he was a fantastic pop artist, we'll call him, who created iconic music that the world knew him. And massive controversy hit surrounding Michael Jackson that destroyed his brand.
Right.
And there absolutely are still Michael Jackson fans who would still want to collect this, right? So is it still
not the market it used
to be. So is it still collectible? Yes. But has the value completely been destroyed? Yeah.
Right.
So this is an unpredictable variable that we couldn't control. We said it before. And so knowing when to sell this. So early on, there were a lot of information in the news that led people to believe that something, crazy was coming out. And it was probably would have been a better time to unload something like this. Right. So that is when to sell. Understanding peaks and valleys and understanding that more than just the card itself, there are lots of things that can play into the value and impact and influence the fluctuations. I know that sounds complicated. I don't want to overwhelm two people, but this is the truth. This is why there's a lot of people who don't do well, like with the stock market, but there are a few people that do really well, is that they just take the time to understand it. They study it. They pay attention, and they can move accordingly versus people who are like, I got a few extra bucks. I like this word. It's a stock. I'm going to buy it. And oh my God, I lost all my money. They shouldn't be shocked. So if you want to make money off of something, and then you got to put in the time. However, like we said earlier, if you just like something though, and you just want it in your collection, then all these things that we're talking about really doesn't matter. In the case of your baby Yoda. When to hold. Our last point that we want to discuss, when to hold. Now, I know you already brought up Baby Yoda. Maybe you can use a different example. But what is something that you have purchased that you've had now for a long time?
Something that I've purchased that I've had now for a long time.
Yeah.
Do you like how I read it all out?
Yeah.
Okay. Something I've purchased that I've had for a long time. I have some Muppet Palisades figures.
Oh, nice.
The company is now defunct. They were made in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And I've had them for many years.
Yeah.
I had a bigger collection. I sold some. I regret it. I'm starting to buy them again.
Yeah.
But yes, Muppet Palisades.
Okay. Now, why is it that you still have some of these things?
Because I love the Muppets.
Getting back to an earlier thing of sometimes you buy because you just love it.
Right.
Sometimes you just hold because you love it.
Right.
Now, that is one reason. I know there's some consistencies and some overlapping reasons here. But another reason why you hold is because it's not the right time to sell. Now, earlier I used the example of like seasonal stuff with and I used like bass or football, whatever I said. But even like baseball, you want to hold baseball during the off season when there's not a lot of interest and hold it to a point where it's going to peak a little bit more during the season, and then you can sell. So that's one reason why you want to hold something. Another reason why you want to hold, called diamond hands, is when markets do experience corrections. I don't like to call it crashes. I don't like to call it that. But when markets experience corrections, you don't want to FOMO out. You know, a lot of people just talk about FOMOing in, fear of missing out in, but there's FOMOing out as well, where you get this fear. And you're like,
lose money, a lot of money.
And that's how you lose money. And I don't understand it. I really don't. Why is it that you would want to invest money? And at the first sign of it crashing a little bit, correcting a little bit, you're going to sell and you're going to lose all that money. Why not wait?
A lot of those people are probably the people like we mentioned in the beginning, where they put more than they have into it. So they panic that they're going to lose everything and their whole livelihood. So they pull out. So that's why you only invest what you're willing to lose, like you said.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You just absolutely nailed it right there. So don't FOMO out. Listen, everything in life, everything that you're going to possibly invest in life is going to correct. It doesn't matter what it is. Gold, silver, stocks, real estate, companies, Pokemon cards, like literally everything goes up and down and up and down. But when you zoom out, you want to just make sure that your graph overall is going up. And the only way for you to experience the overall growth is if you stay in and you don't try to FOMO out when it corrects down. So Pokemon, I feel like right now, is plateaued. And if Pokemon corrects downward 10, 20%, 30%, 40%,
that's when I'm going to get all the cards that I wanted, but I couldn't get.
Right. Don't be the person that sells, because guess what? I'm going to be the person buying it from you.
Right. That's what I'm going to get. I can never get a Charizard. Maybe it'll fall enough where I can get one.
Exactly. So you want to be that person that sells at the peak. So hold. The market will correct.
Right.
And when it does, that's when you can possibly move it. Now, however, if you absolutely need the money, you don't hold on to a Charizard card and you can't pay your bills.
Right.
Like, pay your bills.
Right.
Put food on the table. Take care of your family. So that's sort of when to hold. You hold when it's going down. Do not sell if you can afford to do so. You hold if it's not the right market. If things are seasonal, that doesn't mean it's crashing or it's a correction even. It's just not in season at that moment. Understand, that's a time to hold. And also a time to hold, this is a more complicated thing to understand, is like when stocks, they say, when stocks hit 20 to 25% of growth, it's a good time to sell, unless it's a 20% growth over a short period of time, like a few weeks. Then you hold. I know it sounds weird, but so if you see a product, let's say, all right, so we've got some jungle. I got an original.
Fossil. Sorry, that's
no, this is fossil. No, actually, we got all three. I'll take them out. Right. So right here, let's pull this up actually. Okay, so we've got 3 packs. We've got a Team Rocket, jungle, and a fossil. Right? These are vintage packs, sealed packs, right here. You see? Now, let's say I'm just going to use numbers for the sake of easy math.
Okay.
Let's say right now these are $500 each.
$500, wrong.
But let's say over the next 2 weeks, They go from $500 to $700
right.
in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. You hold. Because it's such an unpredictable situation. There is a significant chance it could actually skyrocket even more. If it
jumps that quick, that means people are really looking for it.
Exactly. There's massive interest. A good example of when this happened recently was Tom Brady's rookie card. I think it's the 2001 Bowman card. He made the Super Bowl, right? He finally won the lead-in game, the playoff game.
Right.
And we know that he was making the Super Bowl. People thought, man, this might be the last one.
Right.
And all of a sudden, he's playing the Super Bowl. It's likely he's going to win. Everyone's thinking, wow, what if this is his last game? During the Super Bowl, his rookie card increased about 30 to 35%.
Wow.
During the game.
Right.
It's crazy. That's a time when you actually hold. And so all those people that were like rushing, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to sell that card right away. I feel like all they're trying to do is capitalize on that little tiny moment. They're not zooming out big picture to see what's going on. And what happened is the price of that card went up even more, and it's now strong.
Right.
Because he announced, I'm coming back another year. So now it's at a new high for his card, and then next year that card is only going to go up even more. So this is why when you see moments like this, where in a very short period of time you see these things, you got to zoom out and say, wait, what's going on, and understand it first. Now, if you see it sort of increase 20% over a longer period of time, good time to sell, not hold. Right? Make sense?
Makes sense.
So anyway, that's our sort of quick breakdown for you guys of when to buy, when to sell, and when to hold. Now, there are other approaches to doing these three, but I felt like this was a really important topic for us to break down a little bit.
Right.
And if anything, it represents a good starting point for everyone to figure out what your own sort of approach is to buying, selling, and holding. Don't FOMO in and out. Don't be impulsive like we talked about, right? Don't do all those things. You're increasing the risk of you getting hurt that way. But at least, hopefully, what you've learned from the show is that you got some homework to do.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's worth it. Mm-hmm. It's so much more worth it because you're going to make better decisions. You're going to invest better. You're going to collect better items, and you're going to benefit it from the long run.
Agreed.
Wow. You heard it from the man himself. Words of wisdom from Gregory.
Agreed.
Agreed. So, guys, listen, we are the Collectors Showcase. We like to have fun with all things in the collector's market, specifically trading cards. And we do things on Twitch. We have a live break every single week on Twitch. We do have our regular show here on YouTube every single Monday. And we want you guys to invite all your friends and your neighbors, your dog, if he has a channel as well, to subscribe.
Yes.
That's so important. Yes. It means the world to us if you could do that. Help us out. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell a few friends to do the same, because the more we get from you guys, the more we're able to do for you as well. And we want to be able to contribute lots of really great content and information, and ultimately just help everyone be better collectors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And then also, I know this would mean a lot to you.
Okay.
Is check out Chattanooga Flygazer's show.
That would mean a lot to me.
Well, because I know you're a big fan.
I am. Yes.
Called Saturday Morning Card News. Yeah, tell them about it.
Chattanooga Flygazer is someone that we hired over the past, what would you say, month ago we hired him?
About a month and a half now, actually.
A month and a half ago.
Right?
And he reports the news with such grace and such class that he has really set a precedent for, I think, the entire news community. Step up your game, Jake Tapper, because Chattanooga is bringing it to you. And but there is some news that is a little unsettling. I have not been able to contact him, Rob. I don't know if you know this.
Whoa.
I called them over the weekend, and I was.
Wait a minute! I didn't know that. Should we put out like a missing persons report?
He had a little run-in with Tarjay there. I don't know. I hope he's all right.
I hope so too. I hope he shows up.
I'm putting out feelers all around. So.
Anyway, guys. Check that out. Hopefully Chattanooga is okay. But listen, we appreciate everyone and all the love that you guys have contributed by being a part of this incredible show. As always, happy collecting. Let us know what you'd like to learn about. We're happy to talk about it and open it as well. And we'll see you next time on The Collectors Showcase. That's a wrap. All right, let me just do this actually.